Kuzangpula, you're watching Bhutan This Week with me, Kulauti Guragai. In our top stories this week, His Holiness the J. Khenpo completes conferring Gelongma vows today. Public Accounts Committee recommends dropping irregularities pertaining to the dam site development of PHPA 1. Bhutan to reopen borders to tourists in September. His Holiness the J. Khenpo administered 3-day ordination of Gelongma vows to 142 nuns recently. Bhutan Nuns Foundation, in collaboration with the central monastic body, organized the event, which is first of its kind at Ramthangka Temple in Paro.
Her Majesty the Queen Mother Sring Yangdin Wanchu, Her Royal Highness Princess Dichin Yangzom Wanchu, the Prime Minister and levies from the Central Monastic Body attended the last day of the ordination ceremony yesterday.
I'm very happy. I don't know how to thank Her Majesty the Queen Mother and His Holiness for giving us this opportunity. After being ordained by His Holiness, we are content. Although we have to abide by many restrictions, it is timely and we are confident.
This is a historic moment, and I wish to say I'm so proud of Bhutan for this extraordinary vision to support the nuns of Bhutan and giving them this ordination from Chapje. Bhutan is doing something incredible, and to be part of it is just extraordinary.
It is very precious for us, and His Holiness Gelong Dukpa told us to go here and take the vow, this precious vow, which is given by His Holiness Ji Khenchin Dorje Chang Rinpoche, and we are very proud that we are here for this precious vow.
With the ordination, the nuns will have to strictly abide by 365 disciplines such as vowing not to kill, steal, lie and engage in sexual misconduct, among others. According to the Bhutan Nuns Foundation, the Gelongme ordination will empower and uplift the educational and spiritual opportunities for nuns. Meanwhile, as part of the ordination program, the nuns went around Paro town for alms today. For Namgyewachi in Paro, Tsringzam, BBS News.
With the ongoing hydropower projects in the country repeatedly missing deadlines, the National Council has recommended the government to avoid this. According to the House of Review, the ballooning costs as a result of delayed hydropower projects have negatively impacted the country's economy.
The Council's chairperson of the Economic Affairs Committee cited an example of the Punachanchu 1 hydroelectric project authority, which faced time and cost overruns. He said the PHPA 1 began in 2008 and was scheduled for completion in 2016 with then estimated budget of more than 35 billion yuan. But now, the project's revised budget comes to more than 93 billion yuan. Likewise, the Kholongchu Hydropower project began in 2015 to be complete in 2020 with a budget of more than 33 billion yuan. However, due to the delay in works, the budget soared to more than 54 billion yuan. These setbacks have caused the government to lose millions of revenue.
대 파장 메밀루 다때 세도 셀레게티 야시 주미 디기 땡아처럼 원법쟁기 위법파 바주 창률디나 티주 주니기 볼렌 사티 마음비기 부시술루 대 볼렌 티니 년카 대 bombe라두 세슈닐라 디마세 콜롱추 레귤 파종수미기 김기 대 조다 대 니나 켈덴 발라 트랜스포터 켈덴 대 록타 마수비기 대 네땅에
The House also recommended the government provide definite timeline for the implementation of the Sungkosh hydropower project in Lhamui Dzengkha Dongkhak. The project has slowed development works such as roads and bridges in the Dongkhak.
레귤레된 사시 제소레 배급 템바친 디카기 미세수 니토 수네로 도바사디 두 세슈닐라 예든 딜레텐디 델 하모 진카 오기 기오승기 미세당 타코르기 사콩 수나 예비기 미세수 데 공펠기 레나 딜레텐 펜토 bomba 주마스베 세슈닐라.
The committee proposed the recommendation while discussing the cost of hydropower projects in the annual budget report 2022 to 2023 yesterday. Following the discussion, the House unanimously endorsed the recommendation. Today, there are 4 ongoing hydropower projects in the country. They are PHPA 1 and 2 in Wandi, Kholongchu Hydropower Project in Tashiansi, and Nikachu Hydro Energy in Trongsa. Gyalzam Choden, PBS News.
The Economic Affairs Minister said the government will not execute any forthcoming construction work at the Kholongchu Hydropower Project site in Tashiansi. This is until all the issues ranging from the management to the cost of the project are resolved.
The Bumdiling Jamkhai MP said the delayed project has deprived the residents of economic benefits.
총질기 데이터 고급다 데이터 디수가라 파 두스노디기베 때로 마차 시축베 데 디스디스 남미섬에 bombe라 땅디기베 데밍옴 레시질로가지 두비미세 레시질로 다다리나바 데 참족제베 강로 데 답마디오 텐디기베 같이 세미디 데 가틸레 고진나 마시바 데벨루디 세슈니라 데 지디 가지라기 대침 닥바치라 데 lok미 레길기베 개런티 세디기베 킨딜 렌디기베 데 잡차노 세슈니라.
The Economic Affairs Minister said there are numerous issues plaguing the 600 megawatt Kholongchu project. These hiccups have to be addressed before deciding the fate of the project.
Kholongchu di sumchu dinchu se labila didi dinchu di market na lenga chera tiru bank da andi sale market na le lengop I sumchu di khora chapi ni chebe wachin ngachera jungle de DGPC de SJDBNL ki dina jasale be wachin changa re dina contribution equity chu da andi suta be da market na le lemi gi tiru disugi netangta dele dare gi jinchungi betangi netangta construction gi netangta dele dare na ba gi gadebe jurche asiga disugara ta beuda Kholongchu gi tapma deudi thari bari navna se thunime datoya thunime tama gyakhap kise kini gi nangkhaya du.
Until then, any upcoming work will be stopped. However, the ongoing work will not be stalled.
Te dare bewachin dalefa Kholongchu da dewa yomi gi garilam indui I jamba indui gachi bedi beru thekardura te di godami she junibela micha she junibeila.
The construction of the Kholongchu Hydropower venture began in 2015. More than 4.5 billion yuan has been spent so far. Gyalzam Choden, BBS News.
The Public Accounts Committee during the joint sitting on Wednesday recommended the government consider dropping irregularities pertaining to the dam site development of PHPA 1 if the barrage option gets through. The government is waiting for India's response to replace the dam with a barrage for now.
The Public Accounts Committee presented the review report on the annual audit report. The committee said the geological conditions of the right bank dam area are seen as force majeure conditions of nature. Force majeure refers to unpredictable events beyond anyone's reasonable control.
Fiscal deficit ki domestic revenue malam ki dele bulen namsami ngachigi noksara tamasumi bulen yubigi chaja desu suname debada ani anzum gi kangil gadebese ni na solution di ngachi namsumi sungre miname bala dan zum solution di da revenue zo wachin jamchi ime bala te revenue zoni ki gokap di legul anizum jobabe joksobe complete besu wachin jamchi inse shunila te ani mangil zoni ki legul disulu ngachi jabjor mafio ani chinyok dis atire thomchi shairada kholu eptirada kholu la lejimbe be mate.
While some supported the recommendation, some did not.
ngachara dambam dira gesung tuju wansingi chachimdi te lejumbe jewachin te anige kepinchi junidumbe jeisi shunibi gachimosa wachin ngachigi nalu te tenyok di chame tani na gadebe beninagi lamlu di afinalu siri rivera yu shunibi la ता ngara hon tele di nibagi te khaib da di te japchur ati chi phimsu ba shunibi
da navna se mapara di dam da barrage gi option di basinale da barrage gu yasu bachin dam gu mapara rong yelegi la bedigi be matubni la bedigi be tiru masep chi yasu yu be wachin di chizi wajin gi lamluk data dura jogo.
The committee found out that the decision to relocate the dam resulted in cost and time overrun. The committee also made other observations like payments for materials without certainty of their use in the dam construction, incorrect calculation of labor wages, price variation on the contract amount, and incorrect rate analysis. However, with a show of hands, the recommendation was passed. It will now be forwarded to the Royal Audit Authority. According to the opposition leader, the recommendation was not passed constitutionally.
tukchurengagi tehale somchisogi tubbebedalu chajudupchisi yale sondela mapa yale tutachi timde tudel kadibina tengagi bawchin sumcha nigibe chajudububachin te som shipchi sum gobela ani chajudubochinla ani bedalu da nachrigi te nipadi chajub madubzumbe agi dibije isi.
The Speaker, however, said resolutions can be passed by a show of hands through a simple majority. He said the two-thirds requirement will normally be used when the House passes a contentious bill. In such cases, the Speaker said a voting machine will be used. Kiladim for BBS News.
The High Court sentenced a man from Hlunsi to 8 years in prison for sedition earlier this month. According to the verdict, Sangifinto was found guilty of writing a seditious statement against the institution of monarchy, the government, and the election process on a popular Facebook page, Bhutanese News and Forums. He uploaded the statement in March last year using a fake account.
The 24-year-old was found to have created 3 fake Facebook accounts. The seditious statement was written using one of his fake accounts, Dagba Namgyal. It was written in Dzongkha defaming the monarchy and the election process, which he wrote favored the current government during the last parliamentary election. According to his post, the pandemic was the karmic result of the malpractice during the election. After coming across the post, an individual informed the police. The police then traced and arrested him in June last year. The case was forwarded to the Office of the Attorney General in July. During the trial, Sangifunsu told the court that he was not mentally sound and he wrote the post. However, since he could not produce any evidence supporting his claim, the district court sentenced him to 6.5 years in prison. Sedition is a felony of the 3rd degree with a prison term of 5 to 9 years. He appealed to the High Court on the same ground of mental illness only to receive an increased prison sentence of 8 years as requested by the Office of the Attorney General. Bimasaldan Singh, BBS News.
2 boys of Chumithang Middle Secondary School were exposed to a flashover or high voltage electric discharge from a transmission line over Baunijora River at Pasaka in Phuentsholing. While one of the boys escaped with minor injuries, the other boy is still in the hospital. The boys were returning from school on Saturday.
The boys were exposed to high voltage electric discharge from the 11 kilovolt transmission line due to silt deposit on the riverbed. The taller boy was knocked unconscious by the high voltage electric discharge. He suffered burns on his hands and legs. The Desubs and police who were monitoring the nearby roadblocks took the boys to the hospital immediately. The minimum safe distance from the high voltage transmission line to the ground level is 6 meters. However, debris and sediments deposited in the area during the recent flash flood raised the ground level and reduced the distance to the overhead transmission lines to around 2 meters at the time of the incident. According to the Bhutan Power Corporation, ground clearance of the transmission line was maintained as per the required standard on Friday. The office, however, says more debris and sand deposited the next day has increased the ground level again, causing the mishap.
The management says they are in constant touch with the victim, his family, and the doctors. The debris and sand at the accident site have been cleared for now. The police are investigating the incident, and once it is complete, the case will be forwarded to the court. This is Sangi Shizong for BBS News.
Bhutan will reopen its borders to tourists in September. The Tourism Council said it will do so with a renewed focus on the sustainability of the sector. The news comes a day after Parliament passed the new Tourism Levy Bill 2022. The bill revised the sustainable development fee per tourist per night to $200 from $65. According to the Tourism Council, the sector is undergoing a major revamp.
Bhutan will reopen its borders to tourists from 23rd September. That will almost be 2.5 years since the country closed its borders after detecting the first case of COVID-19 in March 2020. When a tourist visits Bhutan, it will cost at least $450 per night, except for those who have confirmed their travel before 28th June. This is to brand the country as an exclusive high-end destination. The government is removing the minimum daily package rate of $250 paid by a tourist for an all-inclusive packaged tour to Bhutan. According to the council, this often limited the tourist experience as travelers could only choose package tours provided by tour operators.
Now, because of not having a mandatory engagement of a tour operator, maybe a tourist will be too free, and maybe that would cause a difficulty or challenges both to the society and even for the tourists. But as far as we are concerned, we feel that this should not be, while this is a valid concern, but we should be able to address this, and we have to address this. It is just like, for instance, any one of us traveling to another country, no? Like for instance, if you go to Thailand also, I go to Thailand, basically that same situation we are trying to bring here, and which actually gives them more freedom, more flexibility to a tourist, and also a level playing field to the service provider.
He added that a tourist must, however, have a tour guide while in the country.
In the past, a guide is kind of it was understood as if wherever the tourist goes, the guide has to be compulsorily accompanied. Now in the new system, that may not be the case. If a tourist feels that, okay, his or her itinerary is in Thimphu and I want to be on my own, I think now we want to make it very clear, transparently, you can do that, okay. But now if that tourist wants to go a Fajuding trek, then yes, definitely he needs to take a guide. So therefore, a guide need not be full-time, like a guide can be changed on a daily basis also.
The revenue from the SDF will be used to invest in the 3 key areas. The council will be revising standards for service providers, including hotels, guides, tour operators and drivers. They will be subjected to a more robust certification process before they can engage tourists. The government will be providing skilling and reskilling programs for the employees in these sectors to boost service quality. The SDF will also be used for activities that will promote carbon-neutral tourism. The council said the Indian tourist for now will pay the previously stipulated fee of 1200 Ngtam per person per night. The rate will be revised at a later date.
Rest, it is going to be same like for any other tourist. So there will be no difference. Wherever the guides are required, they will be also required to have a guide. They will be also required to stay in a government certified tourist accommodation. Except for the stay rate, rest are more or less going to be same for all tourists, because we are pursuing one tourism policy. I mean, we have to keep that in mind. So at one point in time, Bhutan will have just one tourist, regardless of their nationality.
According to the council, the revamp of the tourism sector comes amid a widespread transformation across the country, from the civil service to the financial sector.
And the reason why we are doing this national transformation is mainly to make our country a developed nation, a high-income nation. That is one. But as of now, we all know that things are not really so comfortable. That's why many Bhutanese young youths are leaving our country in search of a better job, high-paying job. So if we achieve that objective of develop Bhutan, we should be able to reverse that trend.
He added that tourism is a strategic and valuable national asset which impacts every Bhutanese citizen, and it is vital to ensure its sustainability for future generations. Phuket, PBS News.
The International Financial Institution World Bank describes that roads are arteries through which economy pulses. This phrase resonates with the internal highway between Phinsaling and Samtsi, as it has a crucial contribution to the economic development of Samtsi and Chukha districts. However, with almost half of the highway in a deplorable condition, it needs immediate repair.
Since the border gates are still closed, the 58-kilometer internal highway connecting Samtsi and Phinsaling has become the main economic lifeline for the people of Samtsi and Chukha. But the condition of the highway, especially the 25-kilometer stretch from Samtsi towards Wezirgang, is in awful state. The road also connects Dorokhadungkhak with the other parts of Samtsi. The daily commuters are greeted with endless potholes. Also, monsoon has wiped out most of the black-topped portions along the stretch. The recent rainfall has partly flooded the road.
We would travel via Indian roads if the gates were opened. Without an option, today we have to use this internal road which is in a very poor condition. Rather than benefiting us, the road has only caused numerous inconveniences and damaged our cars, which we bought after many difficulties.
The road is in very bad condition. It is filled with potholes and numerous puddles have also been formed due to rainfall. We have to drive our vehicles on such roads, which makes the whole journey very bumpy. At times, our vehicles also tend to lose control and skid. It would be better if the concerned authorities can repair the road soon.
I travel via the internal road frequently, and the road till Halhale is in a very bad condition. We faced numerous problems while traveling this stretch. At times we get stranded because our vehicles would get damaged. Likewise, the tires of our vehicle constantly get punctured on the way as the road is very rough.
It is better to drive on rough roads than to drive on this internal highway. Most of the road's top layer is washed away and has become very rough lately. As such, we are facing numerous problems. We have to constantly maintain our vehicles, and these days spare parts are not available easily.
Amidst the COVID relaxations, the fleet along the highway has increased significantly. About 300 to 500 vehicles travel along the road every day. As the wet season has picked, regular travelers say the highway will further deteriorate. The highway was last rehabilitated in 2018. The Department of Roads Regional Office in Phinsaling planned to renovate the road last year. But the plan was shelved due to the lack of funds. Nevertheless, the office has proposed for the budget to the Works and Human Settlement Ministry to resurface the internal highway this year. Unless the budget comes through, the highway's condition is not likely to improve. For Pasang Doji in Samtsi, this is Pemal Hardin, BBS News.
The traditional Korean floor heating system called Godil could complement Bhutan's efforts in remaining a carbon-negative country. The system used for thousands of years in Korea is energy efficient and can be made by basic local materials. A dozen trainees of the Build Bhutan project in Chume Technical Training Institute in Bumta were recently skilled in constructing Godil by a Korean expert.
To make a gudul, you only need to gather stones or bricks, soil, clay and tissue papers. It is built in the ground floor, usually in the bedroom. It has three parts, namely the fireplace, the heat-saving and distribution area, and the chimney. The heat saving and distribution area has several channels which carry the heat and smoke. The channels are first covered by stone slabs, followed by a layer of sand and then clay to stop smoke from seeping out. Finally, a layer of tissue paper is laid on which people can sleep. The trainees, with the help of their instructor, Dr. Kenneth K. Kim, who is also a teacher at the Uken Academy in Punakha, successfully constructed the gudul within 2 weeks.
Very hygienic and economic if we compare with the Bukhari. This year is my silver jubilee staying in Bhutan, and I am so happy and proud. And I'm sure that this gudul system will be my best contribution to my helping and friendly people in Bhutan.
Dr. Kim says a gudul would use around 8 sticks of firewood to keep a room warm the entire day compared to around 70 pieces in Bukhari. The heat trapped by the stone slabs and clay keeps the room warm for a longer duration. The trainee said gudul might become popular in Bhutan.
거기 랍도 좀 비지고야 진짜 안날도 헬도 나미선 페메세 메발라 whereas joints 다 안디수 나노 좀베 아니 body relief joi니메 몰라 아니 배우달로 아니기 benefit 디둘라
세소야 남심지 조급지에 민도 대한 선배들로 때 외래인이 준비 멤버 두스 노베데 공개라 아니 셰소진 데 내셔메 준지 두스 주도랑
local gichala disimiu teren ani rule chige khap disile ba mangoba ngachira ge khamna le thopsumni popular journalism chira thomila ngai ani narsangi ani advantage to sishinibela.
Dr. Kim also says pollution is very minimal from the usage of gudul. The smoke which arrived at the chimney would have already become cool and humid. So the humid tar would be deposited at the bottom of the chimney instead of escaping in the air. Meanwhile, the Chumi TTI is planning to promote the system in villages. Gudul was first piloted at Gaza in 2017. Today, there are around 7 of them spread across Ha, Gaza, and Punakha. For Kipchu in Bumthang, Samton Dolker, BBS News.
That is all we have for this week. Thank you for watching.